one. Oh, God, please don't slurp.
You're welcome.
Oh, God. No, don't. I am so
hear me out.
Rarely bothered by things.
You have your phone thing and I have my slurp thing.
No, that's different. You don't have to hear that slurp again when you're editing the podcast, as opposed to me. I hear that mouth sound and I want to punch you through time and space.
It's a habit.
Dislike.
What that tongue do? You can hear it.
0 out of 10. This is The Mud Peddlers, a podcast where two nerdy ceramic artists share the behind the scenes of their worlds of clay. We are your hosts, Lindsey M Dillon.
And I am Donte of Earth Nation.
Hey, guys! Hey, it's been a bit.
Baby, I got your money, your money.
Somehow we're starting this like the Night Peddlers.
We're starting it like
a little bit. Speaking of which, well, just generally, guys, hi.
Hi.
It's been a little bit. We were gonna have an episode out earlier, but then the gods of technology decided to take a big fat poop.
Everything. It did, so I stuck this little, it's a micro SD or whatever it's called, into my computer.
And it was like, nope.
Well, it was like, there's a problem with your micro SD. And I said, okay. I was like, do you want us to repair it? And I went, no, I don't want you to repair it. Because last time I pushed the yes button, it deleted everything. So I pushed no. And then it did it anyway.
No.
It deleted, so I back up all of our files.
Yeah.
Okay, it deleted the backups.
Whoa.
So all of the Night Peddlers, I keep backups on backups.
Yeah, of course.
So I have the
backups on backups.
Yes.
So you can back things up while you back things up. Hey!
So I have the double backup.
Back it up. Sorry.
I have the double backup, but I don't have the initial backup now.
Okay.
So...
Anyway, point being, we were going to have an episode out like mid-December talking about basically what we're talking about now, which, by the way, friends, ladles, gentle spoons, all manner of fine cutlery. Wow, you can tell I haven't podcasted in a while. I forget how to do this. Point being.
I've never done it.
Yeah?
I'm not a rapper. I just spit. Somebody will get that.
No, I get it.
Okay.
I'm going to have to edit this out. Shit. All right. Okay, so we're doing a little bit of like we did in the bygone years, we're doing a bit of a year review and year looking forward. So among the things that we will be discussing today, we will be talking about our greatest successes from this last year.
Okay.
Our greatest learning opportunities from this last year, and what we're most excited about for next year. So where do you want to start, buddy? You came with a list, which I'm very impressed about.
I did come with a list, but the list is very me-centric, and I do apologize.
Well, we each have our own lists. You have your list. I did one in the last 5 minutes before you hit record.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Which, admittedly, it's kind of easier because we sort of already had this conversation in the previous podcast.
It's just an update.
The one that died, the episode that got deleted. So it's kind of just like, hey, round 2. We'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. So I would say. Oh man, it's difficult because after the trip to New York, I kind of talked to Clayscapes.
Yeah.
Because
let's do do like a real quick 30-second recap, main points from this year. What happened? And then I'll do that. Let's try and do like a back and forth, so we're not like monologuing at each other.
So Red Lotus came out, my glaze, as you guys know,
when?
And it's. When? I don't know when. March, maybe?
Okay.
And it became pretty popular, and people seemed to like it, and it was my first recipe that essentially, if you do it right, if you dip it right and you get the right heat and everything, crystallizes iron reds. So it's a deep iron-saturated khaki red crystal glaze at cone 6 oxidation, which is one of the harder ones. And then I went to Clayscapes, and I had a choice. My wife was like, you can either go to Ensika this year, or you can go to Clayscapes.
Yeah.
So, of course, I went to Clayscapes. They were very nice to me. Clayscapes, if you're listening, or anyone from there is listening, thank you very much. They took me out for hibachi, and then I gave them whatever. I would make a horrible politician. Because...
Getting proper bribe? Not bribe. Yeah. That's not...
I would get... No, the word is bribe.
Okay.
But they would be like, oh, no, how did Russia get all the codes? And I would be like... mouthful of tacos.
They brought me boba.
Oh, they brought me... Yeah. They have the codes from food, bro? Not even money. But yeah, essentially, so I gave them 5 more glazes. After Red Lotus came out, I did a mocha diffusion presentation there. And part of the reason I went there was to give them more glaze recipes that I've been working on. So I gave them 5 more glazes that I like a lot. It's really 7, but I think they're aiming for the release of 3 to 5.
Okay.
And so that's a big one. So
That's
part
huge.
of that deal is that I'm not going to Ensika this year.
Okay, we'll get back to that, but continue the recap. What are the main like hit points from this last year? So yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so we've been talking about on the Mopethers for a little bit, like flirting with this idea of like sooner or later a company is going to call me.
Gonna put a ring on it.
Yeah, but sooner or later, because of my work with the glazes and the ceramics material workshop, has trained me pretty good at this point, you know. Which I do want to say as a side point, I never took a ceramics material workshop in-person class. I've always taken the self-taught classes, and the work is good enough for me to just, like, work off of that, to learn off of that.
Yeah.
So I've always just done that. So I probably for the first, like, 2 years I took their classes, they probably had no idea who... Donte and Earth Nation were probably divorced from each other in the way that you would think about them.
Yeah.
And so when I met them every now and then, they're like, we don't know you. And I'm like, I've been taking your classes for 2 years.
That's what we call a parasocial relationship.
Exactly. It was parasocial. So when I went to Ensika, it was a bit weird. But essentially, I started creating blogs about the deep iron saturated khaki red glazes that I have been working on for the past year because I'm really deep into them. A company was having trouble making them. They read my blog, and then they were like, your molar amounts don't work. And then I went over to the company because they found out I was a little bit close. And then I talked to their lead glaze engineer guy. And then he was like, your molar amounts are wrong. I said, no, they're not. He said, yes, they are. They said, no, they're not. We each opened up our own calculators. He's been using a calculator in which he hasn't updated for quite some time.
Yeah.
The calculators that I use either stay updated per year, because I use Ceramic Material Workshop, regular and European version.
Which, by the way, the reason that there are I'm just going off of what you told me, but so our listeners know. The reason that you would want to use, or that the calculator matters is because the materials change. Because, like, again, when you look at something like, okay, like, how much, like, essentially.
Like, long story short.
Lindsay, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Let me. Go.
I think it's easier for me to.
Yeah, it is. So, you actually know what you're talking about.
So, like, EPK now might be different pre-2020.
Because of the mine and
just because it might change. And so, every mineral that we use has, like, an elemental or chemical analysis. And it comes with a certain amount of something on the periodic table. Right, so things like spodumene might come with a certain amount of lithium or a certain amount of alumina, silica. Fritz also supply those things, right? Yeah. So every now and then a material changes, and that chemical analysis changes just a little bit. So the amount of alumina dioxide you might get might be different for the same material name, but pre-2024, 2023. So the Ceramics Material Workshop does a great job of this, because when you go down their calculator, if you click something like EPK, it'll be like, which year? Like, which year of EPK? That matters, right? And so over the course of 20 years, as materials change every, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years or so, if you just don't ever update your calculator, you don't keep up on the elemental amounts of things that come with certain materials.
So you were having this conversation with this person from this company.
Right. The problem is this glaze is like 2 grams changes the fucking glaze.
Yeah.
Like 2 grams off will make this glaze die. You know what I mean? And I go by molar amount. So this person was just like, yes, no, yes, no. We each opened our calculators. I said, put in a glaze that you think makes the color red. He said, okay. I said, now put it into my calculator. And then he put it in completely different molar amounts. Yeah. Unfortunately, his boss was there. In the meeting with us, and so they were like, okay, so do you want a job? Do you just want a job?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I think the difference is that this person works with material, and I look at the material is important, but I look at the molar amounts more. I work by molars.
Yeah.
So that...
And this, because you guys had also gotten connected because of somebody within that company who we are both acquainted with.
Who kept telling them.
Like, hey, pay attention to this Donte guy.
You need to, this guy, Essentially, they were
I wanna highlight the fact, because so often it's like, oh, how does someone land in a position like what you're going to be landing in? And it's like,
For like maybe 6 months, this person was like, seriously, you guys are having problem with the one thing that I know a person knows inside and out how to fix. And they just kept telling that person no. And then finally they gave up. I showed up and they were like, oh, so we should have We should have a long time ago.
So they're putting a ring on it.
They're putting a ring on it.
Sort of, but it's like an open relationship because you don't have to take down any of your content, right?
No,
like
I'm still able to work for Clayscapes and other companies. They basically said, like, as long as you don't share information from our company to theirs, you're good to go. Just keep the information separate. Keep the stuff, like, don't take our recipes and give it to them.
Right.
And I said, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to do that anyway. I keep it pretty separate.
Yeah.
I would say. I keep it in the experience field.
So what exactly will you be doing?
Real quick, side point.
Oh, yeah.
Side point. I made a blog because that person was confused about the glaze calculators.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to say, if anyone's going by my molar amounts for a deep iron saturated khaki red glaze at cone 6 oxidation, I go by the regular old glazy calculator amounts, not the extended, not CMW, not CMW European, not Insight Live. I just go by regular old glazy.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
Lots of people have contacted me, and half of them are like, it works, and the other half are like, it doesn't work, and the other half are usually using a different calculator, assuming all the calculators are the same.
Yeah, which is a fair assumption.
Yeah, right. Which, if you didn't know, then how would you know?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. You're good. You're good.
That's
so,
it.
Okay. So biggest highlights for you are trip out to New York, connecting with Clayscapes, continuing to work with them, doing your first workshop, right? Because that's the first time you've done like a single day. Here we're doing this one thing in one. No, or was it a weekend? I can't remember. Was it 2 day? A 2 day workshop?
It was a single day, but it's the first time a company has been like, we will fly you out to do this thing.
Yeah,
Usually I do it for like high schools.
Yeah.
Or like colleges, and they're in the city. And then people are like, we know you live in Sacramento, come down. And half the time they just like give me food and I'm cool with it. Like, I don't, I'm a pretty cheap date. Especially for high schools, I'll usually do it for free or some food for a high school because I'm a big believer in like clay for kids type stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But for colleges, I'm like, y'all need to pay a little bit at least. Something.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. Okay, so that connecting with or doing that workshop, and then eventually getting connected with this company, which will remain.
Y'all guys, you will never know.
You will never know.
I will never tell any of you.
Nobody will know.
I told a couple people, and I already regret it.
It's okay. Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you.
We'll have to pull off my fingernails. No, I'd cave pretty quickly under torture. But but all right. So I have also had very big job related highlights.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. So I where I was starting this year, I had been in like January, February, I had been applying for state work for about a year. And I was like, maybe I actually do have the energy to continue doing ceramics, and maybe, I can find a way to, to make this work. Like, I've had a little bit of time to kind of not be nose to the grindstone the whole time because so what I had been doing the previous year is basically pulling from savings to not be so production heavy on ceramics so that I could take more time to like apply for state work and stuff. So anyway, so I was kind of getting to the point. And then I also, around April, because I was still applying for state jobs and such and didn't really have anything big coming up income-wise on the ceramics docket, I helped my former manager from the cafe that I used to work at, who is an awesome dude. He and his business partner opened up a cafe in Sacramento called Tandem Coffee and Wine. Go check it out. Anyway, I gotta have a little shout out to them. So I worked for them as they were opening up their shop, and it was honestly a really good reminder of like, man, like I can see why I was thinking about applying for state work as well, because those couple of months of standing for 6-hour shifts and having to pull bar mats and stuff around, I'm like, ooh man, yeah, this is capital T tiring.
It's a different kind of work.
It's a very different kind of work.
Yeah.
So around that time, I got a call back from one of the positions that I'd been applying for at the state. Long story short, I got the position and I accepted it, and it was a huge transition. Like, y'all have probably heard me talking about this for a long time, but ultimately what made me decide to accept the position was, first of all, knowing that, like, okay, if it turned out that I hated the position, that I was super depressed, that I needed to do something else, it's like, okay, I can either apply for a different position or I can quit. Like, there are options. This does not mean I will now forever be in this one position. The other thing was that, again, broadly, it was a recognition that what I needed to feel safe and what stress levels I was willing to tolerate have changed over the years, and I just needed more stability long term.
Sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. So this large part of the year, with the exception of preparing for SAC Anime Summer and SAC Anime Winter, which were both, a lot of me was just leaning on older inventory and just kind of supplementing that with some newer pieces. A lot of it was just taking a fucking break, man.
Yeah.
And just like allowing myself to experiment with like other fun stuff. Like, I think the biggest, when I would say like my greatest success from this last year, even though it's not ceramics related, it's consistently meeting up with this friend group of mine called it's very cheesy. We have a name because we're like that. So we call ourselves we have a post-apocalyptic merchant club, and what it is stemmed from is right after the pandemic started easing up, a friend of mine and I were walking around, just headed to a coffee shop. We were like fantasizing about this like cute version of the apocalypse where it's like, oh, it's all cozy and we like make our things and we bring our things to the post-apocalyptic, marketplace. And he was like, yeah, like, I'll bring my knitted scarves, or he was like, you'll bring the knitted scarves and like I'll bring the pickled carrots. So anyway, what I've been doing is almost once a week with this friend group is getting together and doing something creative and doing a bit of like a learning exchange. So I taught them how to use a sewing machine. We processed acorns and made acorn pancakes. They taught me how to clean a gun. Yeah.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
What's an acorn pancake?
It's,
Don't say it's pancakes made of acorns.
That's what it is.
God damn it.
I'm so sorry. It literally we went to the park.
Do you grind up acorn nuts and put it in the pancake?
Yeah.
Where are you getting the base recipe for?
So literally there are acorns in Land Park. There are oak trees in Land Park.
I know where acorns come from, Lindsay.
Some people don't. So we literally, like, it was fucking raining outside.
Where are you sourcing the wheat?
So the wheat we just got from like store-bought wheat. But it was
okay. All right.
So essentially what we did is it was raining, we went to the park, we grabbed like probably a couple pounds of acorns, we shelled them, we leached them, which is a process where you boil them to get out the tannins. We ground them. We tried doing some by hand, and then we're like, we're gonna be here for days. So we used a food processor to grind everything. We dried them, then ground them in the food processor. And we ended up with 2 cups of acorn flour, and then we supplemented that with 1 cup of wheat flour. And then we made pancakes, and it was delicious.
Okay.
And so that, and then I brought them over to the studio once and taught them how to do coiled building. So they are building their own fermentation crocks, which is like if you want to make like pickles or, carrots or things like that, you can basically do that in a fermentation crock.
Yeah.
So I think like what makes that the greatest success for me is the openness of not being so like bound to only doing ceramics and having all of my creative energy go to doing ceramics.
I agree.
So
I like stuff like, I enjoy stuff like that, and I think everybody in our generation has had like the apocalyptic talk.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And let me be clear, I don't want the apocalypse to happen.
No, I don't want it to happen.
I know the fantasy that I have in my head 100% is not real. This is me gamifying my life to inspire me to like do things that I might not normally do with friends to deal with what's happening in our world right now.
And it's and I always back myself in the corner of like, okay, well, we need to learn how to grow food. And then someone's always like, I should learn how to make shoes. And I'm like, you should probably learn how to grow food first. And then they're like, well, I want to learn how to like make my own jackets. And I'm like, y'all should probably learn how to grow food.
Probably first where and how to get water.
Yeah, water, food, shelter.
And then maybe like how to start a fire so you can boil that water so that it's safe to drink.
Yes, and it's one of the things that I'm always, and I know I'm getting a little bit off branch here, but it's one of the reasons why I'm always very pro like building more infrastructure and paying our farmers more because they are the foundation of life kind of for at least society. So it's like the second the farmers go down, you don't have food to eat, and you need that to do anything else. Yeah. And you can't eat a podcast.
You can't eat a podcast.
You can't eat a podcast.
It's true.
So you better be treating your farmers better.
No, that's absolutely why why I recognize that this is not a legitimate like prepping thing
It's a step in the right direction.
because honestly, it's just an excuse to do something fun and learn and do things with friends.
It's totally valid. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when people make fun of larger people who go to the gym, and I'm like, they're doing the thing that you're not. They're doing better than nothing, which is the point of, like, it's, you can't slap anybody for that.
Yeah, no,
they're
honestly,
putting in effort, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
A-holes.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be mean.
God, I hate
be...
people who shame people at the gym just for like their size.
Oh, dude, yeah, no.
I'm like, they're doing the thing that you were doing before you are you now.
Yeah. Just don't be a dick.
Jeff?
Yeah. So, so overall, that is probably my biggest recap, or biggest like, that is kind of the highlight of the year, is almost going back to ceramics full time, getting the job at the cafe, and realizing, oh God, no, I want more security so that I'm not, you know, in my like 50s and 60s having to work a service job.
Right.
Getting the job at the state, having it be a good fit, and actually having my blood pressure be probably the lowest it's been in like a decade.
Right.
Settling into that, pushing to get through SAC Anime. I was this close to canceling and giving up my booth because I wanted to be done.
I remember you saying that.
I had a really good time at SAC Anime though. I'm really glad I pushed through and did that.
I'm glad too.
Yeah. And so now that's kind of where I am. So what's your greatest success from this last year, would you say? Is it getting the job at the unnamed company?
I would say it's twofold. It's getting a job at the unnamed company, and I created, and I think I've been, to back up a little bit, I think I've been a little too extra with my glazes.
How do you mean?
I want to be separate from what people have already done.
Okay.
Like when people go, the red and oxidations are the most difficult, some of the most difficult glazes to make. I'm like, I want all the recipes. I have like 8 different recipes that all work because I know the molar amounts now by heart. But I think because of that, whenever I make a glaze, if I see at the bottom of Glazy especially, they're like, oh, your glaze is like these other people's glaze. I delete that bitch immediately. I'm like, no, I can't be, no.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think for a long time, just because of some of the lessons that I got from CMW, I had like this very boxed in perception of like everything's got to be 0307. You know, stuff's got to be proper. You know, I can't underfire it, can't be overfired. I got to make sure I check my thermocouple because I haven't bought an S-type yet. Things of that nature. And I'm slowly getting out of the bounds of that, you know?
Okay, so you feel like you've, like, learned the rules solidly enough to, like, be like, okay, maybe I can start breaking them?
Well, yeah, I figured just a bit. And I don't break any hard rules. I still stay within, like, limits, I would say, even though most of the limits are fake. But, like, I would say I've started to use... All right, hear me out.
Okay.
When you watch something like Harry Potter, or you watch something like, you know, classic bad guy like Naruto.
Yeah.
So, okay. The main bad guy, the main difference is his ideology is usually justifying means to an end, and he always does the no-no spells.
Okay.
Voldemort just does the no-no spells.
I mean, yeah, because they're
deadly. That's why they're the no-no spells, right? Well, sometimes I find the no-no chemicals.
Oh.
But they're not deadly.
It's not like you're suddenly using lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, right. And so I've started to use things that are usually like out of my scope. So I just want to say this right here now.
Okay.
I want to make a public apology to Bismuth.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Say why? Because I'm trying to remember if you have bad-mouthed
I
first of all, what is bismuth? It's just bismuth. It's just straight bismuth. It's okay.
Like
it's
a
like
P bismuth.
Okay, it's a mineral.
It's a mineral.
Okay.
It's one of the few minerals that are like, I am just bismuth.
Okay, so why are you
even
apologizing?
Lithium carbonate is like, well, you're water soluble to a large degree, so I'm not getting all the efficiency I want out of you. Bismuth is like just bismuth.
Okay, why are you publicly apologizing to bismuth?
Because I found out a lot of the glazes that I could like a lot of the effects that I want out of my glazes could happen by just adding like 2 to 4% bismuth in them.
Oh man. Do
you remember this conversation we had?
I do remember this now because you showed me.
I showed you,
some
and I was
pictures,
like,
and I was like, what?
Yes, and it's just tiny tweaks, right? And I'm making crystal glazes, and a lot of my crystal glazes would like streak.
Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't understand why. And they'd be stable in some spaces that are flat, and then anything that has a curve, gravity would happen. As it does. And it would streak. Well, bismuth, as a material, kind of stiffens the melt, is what people say. I know.
Okay.
And so it helped everything kind of hold together by like just using it as an additive, really. And I made 3 bismuth blogs, and I released part 1 already on my website, earthnationsurroundings.com. And I did 2 or 3 line tests, and I put the results up there.
Okay.
And I was like, bismuth is too damn expensive for what it does, which is nothing, by the way. It does nothing.
Oh, interesting.
Problem is, it does everything I want.
Okay, so what went wrong, or not wrong, what happened between the first time you tested it and was like, this does nothing, and then the second time you did it and you were like, this does everything I want?
So the problem is that people, most of our glaze calculators put it in the alkali metal section, which means you can use it as a flux.
Okay.
Right? The problem is it's not like a super strong flux.
Okay.
Unless you use a crazy amount of it, which is very expensive because it's bismuth. So I did a glaze test where I did 27% and it melted straight off the test dial.
Ah.
And then I did a test where I knew that if I upped the flux on this specific glaze, that it would work. It would go from black to red.
Okay.
It was one of my deep iron saturated khaki reds again.
Yeah.
So what I did is I did a test dial. I think it was Van Gilder's khaki red. It's in a John Britt book.
Okay.
And I know how to fix that glaze so it works. Because it turns kind of black if you don't do it right. And I put like 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, up to 11% bismuth in it. Finally, at 11% it worked. But my brain tells me 11% bismuth makes it work as an alkali metal? That's crazy. I could have just dumped lithium carbon there and it would have worked at like 4% more than it usually is.
Okay.
Which is still a lot by my... I usually don't use lithium carb for obvious reasons. And so I wrote all that down. My final summary was like, it's just not worth it for the price. I was using it wrong. As a material, it helps to stabilize as a word, but it helps to like lessen movement of glaze in the firing, and so it stiffens the melt around it at like 4%. I was using it wrong.
Wait, I don't understand. What do you mean?
You put flux in a glaze, it makes it more melty.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of the flux made it melty, but I could have used a different flux and much lesser amounts.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
And
so you were essentially using it as a flux when you should have been using it as like the.
It's categorized as a flux.
It's okay.
It is a flux.
So you just did a lower, like you just used less.
Well, it's essentially reverse, right? So like if I put 2 or 3% more lithium carbonate in a glaze that is already full melted, like it already matures at the temperature it matures at, it would probably move more. You put more flux in it. I did a test where I put like 11% and it didn't do that. And so my brain went, oh, it's not as strong as the other fluxes. I was using it wrong.
I honestly don't think I understand, but I'm also...
It's okay.
Sleepy, so I'm going to hope that, my dear listeners, I hope that you are understanding.
I was using bismuth incorrectly.
Okay.
And so I wanted to make a public apology to bismuth.
Okay.
I will be releasing another blog, and it will clarify a lot of things.
Okay. Was that your greatest learning opportunity, is misunderstanding bismuth?
I'm so pissed. You know I'm pissed, right?
Yeah.
Because I spent like a year with deep iron saturated khaki reds going, why is it crying? Why is it streaking and turning into comments? And now I could have just put 3% bismuth in any of those glazes.
Oh my God.
And it would have made it more stable. It would have made stars instead of comets. It would have done so much more. If you have like a crystal glaze out there and the crystals are streaking, try like 2 or 3% bismuth and see what happens. Just see what happens. I'm not saying it'll work. Just try it, especially with reds. Just try it.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty cool. Give it a little shot. Yeah.
That's it. That was my biggest... It came out and I was like, oh, I got it.
Trying to think what my biggest learning opportunity was this last year. Because, honestly, things have been actually going pretty chill.
The job has really stabilized things for you.
It really, really has. I cannot tell you how much it has, helped.
I'm about to be in that position, too.
Yeah. I'm so stoked for you. I think for me, I'll say, I guess this is more learning, or more, leaning into, what I'm excited about for next year. Because I think, I guess if I were to say my biggest learning, or I guess, I don't know if mistake would be the right word, but learning opportunity, mistake, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think it was just, it was tricky figuring out the balance between studio time and, non-studio time, such that, I was pretty stressed leading up to SAC Anime, and to be honest, I managed my time in such a way that, right now I'm sitting in front of...
So much work.
another like 30 mugs that I just didn't have time to make.
Didn't
have time to finish. Yeah. So I don't think my time management could have been better, but also my goals had changed as well, so that at a certain point I was like, you know what? We're just not gonna get these pieces done, and that's okay.
Yeah.
My biggest goal for Zach Anime was just to be there and make enough to pay for the booth, pay for the next booth, and pay my friends who were helping me. So yes, and I did that and made a couple. I think actually I should mention that my income for Sac Anime was just over 5,000. Oh my god! And I sold a sculpture, which is huge. Yes. I would say that I don't know if I'd call that like my greatest success, because that's not me doing it. That's somebody being like, I would like this.
I think it's a success.
I'm really, really excited. I don't want to say who got it, but if you're listening to this, and thank you. You guys are awesome. And this is.
Lindsey was stoked. Sure.
I really was. Y'all saw me, I was pretty close to crying. I was like, oh my God.
It's a rare moment. A lot of people want to see you make the fancy thing, but once you make it, people are like, oh no, I just want to see you make. I want the experience.
Which again is understandable, because honestly, most of the population has to pay for other things before they pay $800 for a sculpture, which is what I sold mine for.
Right.
So yeah, I was shocked, and it actually was really cool at Sac Anime. Because I changed my booth setup again, I put my sculptures closer to the audience, essentially. Yeah. And a lot more people talked about them. Yeah. So that's a good sign for me to highlight that more, if that is something that I want to try doing. So when I think about what I'm looking forward to next year, ceramics wise, I say I want to work on sculptures, and I want to work both on my regularly sized ones and on small ones to see if there's potentially a market at Sac Anime for small figurative pieces. But broadly, and I mentioned this on the episode that got deleted, but the sort of broad arc that I have in mind for this upcoming year is the metaphor of I feel like my life has been kind of a very cluttered bookshelf for a really long time. Yeah. And shit's been falling off. I've been trying to put stuff back on. I've been, taking things off and shoving things in nooks and crannies. And I'm kind of at the point, I know I can never fully do this because life is just going to keep chugging on. But because of the mental space that the state job gives me, I really just want to take that bookshelf, shake it the fuck out, put it back, and then go through the mess and be like, okay, what do I actually want to spend my time on? What do I want to put on this bookshelf of my life and prioritize? And honestly, I'm not really sure what that's going to mean ceramics-wise. I'm not sure what it's going to mean podcast-wise. One of the things that you and I talked about is taking a little bit of a break from the podcast. I feel like weirdly enough, the break that happened kind of already happened a bit.
The break happened.
We probably won't. I'm inclined to go to a once a month kind of thing, and and I don't know, maybe at some point if y'all listeners are interested in hearing our thought process behind how we're navigating this from a business side, it might be interesting. But my kind of thought process was I still like the idea of making space on my social media, on the podcast, at Sac Anime, of taking the things that I like to make and putting them out for people, because I feel not completely, I feel like I don't want to completely close down those barriers. No. I did take a break from Patreon. I put that on pause for a while because I kind of want to, again, just collect myself a bit. But I do think in general, ceramics and the business side of ceramics is going to be a much smaller part of my overall world next year, because I want to spend more time on even just things like reading. I stayed up way too late last night just reorganizing my bookshelf like I do every year. Yeah. And it's always a bit of a process of trying to see, okay, what do I want to put my attention on? So, so I want to do more reading. I want to continue doing my post-apocalyptic merchant club. I have a friend that's been teaching me how to do shooting at a gun range, and that's been really fun. It's just
Lindsey.
It's been a kick. It's been really fun.
Come over to the dark side.
And it's great. It's great because I don't suck at it. I'm not great by any means, but I don't totally suck at it, and it's really fun. No. And it's also just a thing to do with this friend who I don't normally don't get to spend as much time with. So anyway, I am really looking forward to doing things that will never show up on my social media.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean,
So my dear listeners, my friends, I'm sorry you will probably continue to be seeing less of me, but just, you know,
We'll still
if you
be
if you
here.
care, just know that I'm happy. You know?
Well, I mean, so on the communal note that you had touched on, there's
Yeah.
a couple things.
Yeah,
and
tell
this
me.
might be a bit ham-fisted, but firstly, like, we don't really make any money from the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? So, like
we could
get sponsorships.
if that's where we wanted to spend our time. And that is one of the things we talked about is like, okay, like what
Yeah.
Donte, what if you take over and what if you like
Yeah.
push, and in which case, okay, then we would change the Patreon setup so that the money would be going to you because you're the producer now. And
Right,
we
but-
talked, so it is,
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to either. Like,
I'm
I
willing
really
to
don't care. Like,
burn myself to keep a couple people warm, but I only got so many body parts to set on fire. You know what I mean? And so it's in a weird way we're leveling out because like I'm willing. I've always been willing to take on extra work and be like depressingly tired and just pre-workout Monster Energy drinks.
Really glad you're not.
And then Lindsay's the other side of that, and now I'm coming to where Lindsay is, and
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay has gotten there, so we're both finding more stable jobs.
Yeah.
So for example, I am not going to be teaching at IMCO after this month. It's done. If you haven't signed up for a class at IMCO, it's too late.
Yeah.
I'm done after this month.
Same with Sun City.
Same with Sun City. I'm no longer teaching there. I'm doing another job with a much bigger company now that will pay me way more for the experience that I got from CMW. You know what I mean?
And that's the nice thing too. My understanding is basically this one job is the income of all your other jobs
Put together.
combined.
So I've been doing like Sun City and YouTube and Reels and Instagram stuff and this and that and the website and the blog and the teaching classes on the side and making deals with clay companies and producers so that I can sell my glazes and Patreon and you know like I still have those systems set up in place and they're not going to stop, of course. I'm probably not even going to slow down. But now I don't have to do 12 things a day.
He says, claiming that he's no longer doing the pre-workout depressingly tired route.
Right. And so now it's like I have one job that makes double the income of all those things put together.
Double the income of all those things together?
The amount of money they offered me, they lowballed me, and it's still like more than the number that I told you that you told me to ask for.
Yeah. Can we, since we don't...
No.
You can't say how much you're going to be making?
Well, so I asked for 70, and they were like, we can't give you 70 out the gate. But the person who's training you...
70,000 a year.
Yeah, 70K a year.
Yeah.
They were like, the person who's training you is leaving. He's going to train you. And so you're going to start out at a lower wage. Once he leaves and he's trained you all the way, you're going to become him. And then you'll get a higher wage.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't have to stop YouTube or any of my other stuff, right? And they said no. And so in my brain, I'm like, I'm about to make like a middle class human being's worth of money by myself.
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy too is that like, weirdly enough, that's barely middle class for where we are.
It is now, yeah.
California. Like, I mean, I'm glad that like that, and that's what's still kind of insane. So I'm just doing some math right now because I'm trying to remember I'm trying to calculate what my take home is every year. So that's 70,000 pre-taxes. So I
would say 60 as a safe point for me.
Yeah.
Because like I know it's gonna go over 60, but that's not really the important part.
Yeah. My take home is going to be about 32,000 a year.
Yeah, and so
which is still not great, but it's again
better than what we've been doing.
It's better than what we've well, actually I think at my most I made a little under. I think I made like maybe a little under 30,000, but I think that was pre-tax.
Yeah.
I was still poor by California standards.
Yeah, and I think the longer story is like we love doing this for the community, but we're unlike other podcasts, we do not have sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, like you've never been stopped by a commercial unless it's your own app that's giving you the commercial.
Except for the one time we did get that sponsorship with Found Familiar Coffee, which by the way, their coffee's still really good.
Yes.
Really good. Like
pretty good.
Here's a free little ad for Found Familiar Coffee. They're a D&D themed coffee company and they're awesome.
Right. Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
One of the things that did happen this year is every year I develop a bunch of glazes every year.
Yeah.
At least 5 that I'm happy with. And every year, I give my patrons the ability to pick one of those glazes for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I put it on Patreon. I tell them, write it down because I'm deleting it in 2 months, right? And then I modify it so I know where it came from. Well, this year I gave them the option to make it public. So I said, here are 5 glazes. I put some good glazes in there.
Nice.
Here are 5 glazes you can choose from. Choose which one you want, and you can also vote to make it public. Because I ended up in a glaze book.
Oh,
remember that?
That's right.
The Amazing Glazes Part 2 Food Safe Recipes. Dante's
God.
Lumos is in that glaze.
Yeah, and that was one that you had published on glazy, right?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Before I even talked to CM Dillon, before I knew anything.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and it still came out food safe.
Which it's still a little wild to me that like...
I woke up to that. Nobody told me.
Yeah, like, like it's not even like, hey, by the way, we're going to publish this. It's like, okay, no, you're just in this book now, which is a little weird, I guess. But it's also a publicly, it's like, Glazy is a public... like platform. So
I can't be mad that I put my information in a library, a digital library, and then somebody comes along and reads it and then professes that to their class.
Yeah.
Like it's in a public place.
Yeah.
I would like it if I would have given them one of my red recipes if they would have asked me. 100%. I would have been like, here's one that will turn red. Because everybody wants one of those. Because they're hard to make. I would have given them one. But because of that, Glazy was like, not Glazy, my patrons were like, well, why don't you just release another glaze? I said, you can vote on it. So now Donte's Zinkenabish is out publicly.
Zinkenabish?
Well...
what is that?
So, a couple of my patrons were asking me to reformulate John Britt's Alabama Rain.
Okay.
And I wasn't really happy with the flux ratios.
Okay.
But I still had to make all the molar amounts good and everything, right? And so I was testing, took 2 or 3 tests. And then I was like, man, how am I going to make the flux ratios better to what I like? And I just put some zinc in that bitch.
Oh my god!
I just put some more zinc in that bitch.
Oh my god! Are you for real?
Yeah.
So how? Okay.
So it's
how
called Zinkenabish.
Zinkenabish.
Zinc, Inabish.
God.
And so if anybody wants to put that glaze in one of your glaze books, you're gonna have to put it in there knowing.
That's like the glaze equivalent of like butt mix. Like B mix with grog is butt mix.
Everybody love butt mix.
Everybody
uses butt mix.
Oh my god, it's amazing. I love that so much.
For anyone who doesn't get that reference, B mix and B mix with grog, I think it's from Laguna Company. I'm not really sure which company.
Yeah.
It's the person who produced the recipe. I think his real last name is Butt. B-U-T-T.
Yeah.
And
which is a real last name.
Which is a real last name. And they were like, bro, we can't sell butt mix. And so they named it B mix.
Little did they know they could have had well, no, there would have been a very niche market for that. But
people are listening to this right now going, no, you think I'm messing with you? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm 100%.
That actually would be really fun because legit, I actually have never seen the receipts for that. That would be kind of funny.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah.
You know what I always say? Don't believe me.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Or test it. Don't believe me. Test it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that I think that's something I forgot is I know if you want a public glaze recipe that is pretty much a fixed version of Alabama Rain, you could just use that.
All right. Well, since we are at about 36 minutes and you have to go home to your wife and child.
I do. I got.
What are you most excited about for next year?
I'm excited. So I think for me, I've been so pounded into the idea of glazes being about solely the chemistry that I've been ignoring the material aspect for a long time and how they work within water especially, and some of the other things you can do with glaze materials before you add them into the rest of the mixture, right? Because you could do stuff to stuff. And so I think what I'm most excited about is that the new place that I work at is more of a functional glaze place. They don't really care about the hobby world in that they're not selling bottles of glazes because they're pretty. They want them to be like strong, safe, XYZ. They're for like industrial.
I was going to say like industrial grade, yeah.
And so I'm I'm very excited to learn from this person who's going to teach me because he's like a material engineer. And I'm not really a material person.
You're more of chemistry.
Yeah, I would say I'm just really familiar with molar amounts. If you talk to me about like valence electrons, I wouldn't be able to really talk to you on a level that a real chemist would. I would say that like I'm familiar specifically with some of the elements in glazes, but that's like a fourth of the periodic table.
Okay.
Maybe even a fifth.
Okay.
Right? So I'm less of a chemist and more I'm really experienced with like glazes and their chemistry and molar amounts of the UMF specifically.
Yeah.
And that's what's gotten me kind of far.
Okay.
But I think a real chemist would look at me and go, "You are a child." You know, like
of course,
an actual chemist.
Yeah. Okay, so you're looking forward to what is it? Well, what is it about, like, the glazes that you will be working with? Or I guess it's just okay. So you're interested in learning the material aspect because of the training you'll be receiving as part of this job.
Yeah, because it also changes a lot of the way the material works, the glaze works. Like viscosity and specific gravity are generally material based, not so much like chemistry based.
Right.
So whenever you redevelop a glaze, if you use a different material but the molar amounts are the same, that material and the way it works, the way it absorbs water, the way it gums up it might work completely different in your application and your viscosity will change.
Yeah.
Things that I really care about now, just because of CMW, like specific gravity, viscosity, application, molar amounts, chemistry, like those. That's like the holy grail. Those 5 things for me really matter in a glaze. And most people just kind of care about like, well, how much water do I put in it?
Yeah.
And then they're done, right? I care about a bit more in this new place. When I looked at their glaze notes, I was like, they got viscosity. I was like, they have viscosity. And that's seeing that is crazy to me. Because me and like 10 other people I know track viscosity.
Yeah. I tend to hear about viscosity more amongst folks who do, not that I have that much experience with talking to these folks, but I feel like I hear about it more with folks who do slip casting.
Yeah.
But not so much with glazes. So that's interesting.
It's important both ways, but I stick to specific gravity a lot because it changes as you use the glaze. You know, when you take a pot, put it in glaze. It soaks up water and...
of course.
Right, well, like, doesn't soak it up to a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So, like, if you use a bucket, it'll change over time.
Yeah.
God forbid it's the summertime, water evaporates out.
Yeah, which is why you gotta test your...
It's a maintenance number.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Are you excited about your job, or...?
Yeah, honestly, dude, I love my job. I love my state job. It is literally exactly what I wanted. Like, I get to walk to work. It's not mentally stressful. You know, I do my work. I usually have a little bit of time where it's like, you know, I have side projects that I create for myself at work to like make my own job easier. But then sometimes it's also like, oh, I got a little bit of time to like, you know, read for a little bit, or it's like I can go on walks to the park on my lunch break. And so it's really good.
A true state job.
True state job. Yes. I go on walks on my lunch break. Yep.
Yes.
But I think what will be fun, or one of the things that I think is going to be fun, is having the time to slow down and do the kind of research. So it's like, oh, if I like did want to try like slip casting, like I still have a big old bottle of slip cast slip B mix to like experiment with. And so I feel like I will probably end up doing maybe more online updates this year than before, and just doing like random one-off things. Like maybe 1 month I'll make like old style like candle holders or like salt and pepper shakers, and I will literally only make them once, and kind of have fun with like the that aspect of like the marketing, being like, hey guys, like I'm in my experimental era, so you know, you're gonna get what you're gonna get, and that's gonna be great. Maybe it'll not be great, but I'm gonna try it, and I get to experiment and learn, and I will be able to pay my rent and have healthcare and be okay.
However you express yourself, and I'm getting more and more there. However you express yourself in the art realm is fine with me. Of course, I have a limit, and there's a bottom and there's a top. But like,
sometimes there's a switch too.
Sometimes there's a switch. But you know, I've definite. It's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, and that'll be a conversation for the future, and this podcast probably again be going to like once a month. I know y'all still want to do a lot, or you've said before you want us to do more interviews. Because interviews take a lot of time, that's part of the reason why we'll be doing once a month, so that we have the time to like properly prep and do all the editing, because the editing is a nightmare. But
because we be cussing all the time.
Not even so much that, because the editing, now I've given up on editing for the podcast, on like removing. I don't edit the curse words out anymore. I only edit it if we get real crazy.
That's because our friend Nico was like, I love the curse words.
Yeah.
And then
well, also it's literally
right.
just more effort to cut out the curse words, so I'm like, man, screw it. Also we like deprioritize like YouTube. Like I wasn't as worried about like trying to get a bunch of people on YouTube, so I'm like, man, whatever. It's not like I'm monetized on YouTube either. So anyway, so that's it's a whole new bright future. And a buddy of mine once said that you know, our future's just so bright. It's so bright we can't see what's ahead, and that's why we don't know, and that's why we just have to keep on taking steps.
Was that Kanye?
No.
Oh.
It was my friend Louis, who is Dutch, and he's very nice.
My friend either said you're
oh, and then that's something I'll edit out. All right. Bye. Bye. And And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of The Mud Peddlers. We would love to hear from you, so if you want to share your thoughts about the episodes or just see what Donte and I are working on in our studios, come say hi. You can find links to my social media at lindseymdillon.com. That's LINDSEY, M as in monster, DILLON.com.
And you can visit my pottery shop or see what I'm working on at earthnationceramics.com. And you can find me all over social media at Earth Nation Ceramics. It's spelled exactly how you think it's spelled.
And if you want to support the show, hear some bonus episodes, and see some behind the scenes of my work, you can support me and the show at patreon.com/Lindsey M Dillon. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.